What up, guys? Today on Chicken Noodle Soup for the Swole, we're going to be going over cardio. What is it and how do I get the most out of it? Today is a big one specifically because people often think, okay, I need to go spend an hour on the treadmill and that's my cardio. That is not and should not be the purpose of what you are doing. And we're going to show you today here how to get the most out of it, and that way you can get the results you're looking for. Alright guys, so what is cardio and how do I get the most out of it? Cardio, aerobic exercise of low to high intensity for a prolonged distance or time. So what that means is it doesn't mean you need to spend an hour on the treadmill or an hour on the bike. And it also doesn't mean that you need to do varying speeds and intensities. You can. But the whole point of cardio is, can you maintain a certain intensity over a set distance or time? That being said, if you are doing shorter distances, obviously you're going to be working at higher intensities. So here we have some important things to think about, highlighted in blue, when you are doing and attacking your cardio, such as the RPE scale, distance versus time, endurance, and heart rate. So the whole point of cardio is to build your endurance. So what that means though is it's prolonging the lactic acid buildup and the rate at which you can work at higher intensities. So for instance, say if you are doing a sprint, you're obviously not going to be going longer than 1 minute. So that leads us right into our RPE scale. With the RPE scale, a scale of 1 to 10 of intensities, obviously level 1 is like opening up a bag of chips, hanging out at home, watching TV. Level 10 feels like you're going to throw up. So for instance, a Tabata. You are not going to be doing Tabata intensity for 30 minutes. If you can, obviously you're not working at that level 10 intensity. So everything here works together. It works in a nice circle, either direction and in a cross pattern. So if you're working at a higher intensity, obviously your heart rate is going to be spiking, going higher. The more intense the movement, the higher your heart rate and the shorter the amount of time you're doing it. Then it becomes an anaerobic activity. That defeats the purpose of cardio. Okay? So remember, we are trying to force your heart to get nice and strong and pump more oxygen throughout your body. So when you are doing cardio, you should not be hitting level 10. Remember, you're trying to cover a certain amount of distance in a certain amount of time. Again, distance and time. How far can I go at a certain intensity? So ideally, you are covering much more than just 50 yards. Okay? If you are training for explosiveness, sprints, 50 yards is fine. But if you're looking to run a mile, you're not going to train it by running sprints. Next, how long can I sustain this intensity for? That's what time is. So time is there to give you a measure of how long you're working at intensity. So again, if we come back to the RPE scale, if you're working at a level 8, you might be able to go for 30, 45 minutes at that level 8. But as you go longer, it becomes harder and harder and harder. So for instance, if you're taking a marathon runner, someone that runs 26 miles, they're obviously not going to come out the gate trying to sprint. They look at their whole distance and they say, I needed to average a 5-minute mile. They're not saying, okay, I need to average 1 mile here, then walk for 20 feet, and then another mile. They are thinking, in the long term, what intensity can I get to that can get me there the fastest? So that comes right back to the RPE scale and endurance. How far and how hard can I push before my body starts fighting back? So that lactic acid buildup is a process that happens because of the catabolic response we have to produce energy. The minute that gets overdone and we start leading to anabolic process, we get that lactic acid buildup, your body starts fighting back, and that's where you see the runners get the shaky legs. So next time you are thinking of attacking your cardio, just remember, you don't necessarily need to go on the treadmill for 1 hour. Yes, you can do that, but make sure you are maintaining a certain intensity over that same period of time. So an easy way to do this, every 2 minutes, double that first distance. So if you're on the treadmill for 1 hour, every 2 minutes, check and make sure that distance is adding on top. So say those 2 minutes, first 2 minutes, you go half a mile. Obviously, at the end of 4 minutes, you want to be at 1 mile, and so forth. Think about it in terms of distance and time, the intensity at which you are working, how long you are going to keep that intensity up, and where your heart rate is. Keep up the good work, soulmates. I'll see you later.